welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to start off Wednesday's Godzilla videos with a topic that comes from the community on The Nation. Now, I went on The Nation earlier this weekend, or this past weekend, I should say, and I basically, before I committed to recording my videos for the week, I asked if anyone on The Nation wanted me to discuss a certain Godzilla topic. So every video this week regarding Godzilla is going to be topics covered per request from people on The Nation. And these are things I like to do to get the community involved. So if you have a topic you ever want me to discuss, but you're not on The Nation Facebook page, you can leave your requests in the comment section. I do read them. But this one, we're going to talk about, would Godzilla 2014 be different if Mike Dougherty had directed it? And I think the simple answer to that is yes. I mean, Mike Dougherty obviously has a different style from Gareth Edwards. And I think the question is, would it be as ramped up as the movie we're seeing now? I'm not 100% sure. It's really hard to tell because I think Gareth took a very safe approach, a very good approach in my opinion. It was his directorial debut in terms of mainstream. I mean, we know he did Monsters before that, but I think he wanted to do enough to generate interest for the general audience, which he did say so himself, but he also wanted to try and keep the hardcore fans happy as well. I'm sure he would tell you he made mistakes during his directorial mainstream debut, I should say, once again. But yeah, I do think it would have been different. I just don't know how balls to the wall Mike Dougherty would have went. I think Mike Dougherty had the advantage of learning from the first movie's mistakes, and therefore he knew what the fans wanted at this point. He knew that the fans, while they appreciate a decent story, they want a little bit more monster action. So yeah, I think it would have been different. I just don't think it would have been as balls to the walls as this movie. Gareth Edwards, for all intents and purposes, did a fine job. He helped put Godzilla back on the map. Ever since that 2014 movie, it's been a very good overall kaiju run. I mean, obviously it's led by Godzilla, but there's interest now in monster movies enough that we're starting to see other directors, as we've mentioned before. Jordan Vogt-Roberts wants to do his own monster movie, and he's already looks like it's already starting the process because Michael B. Jordan has been cast for that movie. So there is genuine interest, I should say, in the kaiju genre, in the monster genre. Enough interest that there's going to be other IPs I think we're going to see. So yeah, I think, even though we're all very happy with what Mike Dougherty's doing, we still haven't seen the movie yet. And I think we all feel confident that it's going to be very good. But, I think with so much excitement that's generated with this movie, with everything we're seeing, we also have to understand that Mike Dougherty has another advantage in that he has access to Toho monsters. Gareth Edwards did not. So, Gareth, I would think, had a little bit more of a challenge doing this movie the first time around, and it would have been interesting to see how Mike Dougherty would have handled that challenge. So yes, I do think the movie would have been very, very different. I think Dougherty might have taken probably a different approach, but one thing I have noticed is there are some similarities in their style. One of the things that Gareth Edwards was praised about was his sense of scale when it came to the monsters, the way he filmed it, the angles he used. Mike Dougherty's doing the very same thing, and he seems to be very good at it. So that's one thing they have in common. I think Mike Dougherty is probably taking a little bit more of the cheese approach to the movies, where Gareth was a little bit more inspired with, while he was a fan of all the movies, he was inspired. He took inspirations from other movies of, popular monsters like Jaws. I think he mentioned Jaws in one of his interviews, and he tried to integrate them into a more serious Godzilla movie. I don't think this one's going to be as serious, I think where Gareth Edwards fell short was, a lot of people complain about the cutaways, and they didn't, I understand why too. Like, I get that. Like, it didn't bother me personally when I saw the movie. I kind of took it more as like an exciting tease, where some people just found it frustrating. So I definitely understand people's approach to that. That's a fair criticism, I think. But also, he was hampered down by a mediocre story. And I suspect we're going to get probably something pretty similar in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's another family again. It's another chase for a family again. The only difference is this time in between that, we have a lot more monster action. So in some ways, we might see something very similar to 2014. The reason it feels better this time is because they're monsters we're familiar with, and there seems like there's going to be a lot more action and a lot more monster action going on, which is what people wanted. So yeah, I do think his movie would have been different if he did 2014. I'm not sure how much different though, that's kind of one of those hindsight things, like we just can't tell. I mean, Mike Dougherty's done maybe a handful of movies, if not less. And this is going to be the first one of his that I've seen. I've never seen Krampus or any of his other, I think he did another horror movie. You could maybe argue that he probably would have taken a more horror approach to doing it. And that's fine, because I would love to see a R-rated Godzilla movie for once. At least we've seen so far that there is going to be some chomping down in this movie. If you saw the TV spot, I don't want to say TV spot, the IMAX spot. And if you didn't, spoilers coming, so okay. But we saw Rodan eating somebody, and that's really, really cool. It probably won't be a major factor in this movie, but the fact that it happens, I thought was really, really cool. So, yeah, I do think they would have been different. I just don't know how different they would have been. And it would have been interesting to see how Mike Dougherty handled the disadvantages that I think Gareth had. And because of those disadvantages, I hope people are a little bit more appreciative of what Gareth did. Obviously, everybody criticizes the movie now, 5 years later. It's the fever pitch. The movie came out, everybody had the fever pitch, and everybody was saying all these great things about Gareth until a year or two later, when everybody calmed down and everybody started nipping him in the bud. But I've remained fairly consistent. I still think it's one of the best Godzilla movies ever made. I still believe that Gareth did an excellent job. And I do think he's an excellent director. I think Rogue One proved that. I think he did a great job with Rogue One. He used that same filming strategy, that sense of scale. So, I hope people will kind of reflect on Gareth Edwards and maybe appreciate a little bit of what he did, because even though it may not have been exactly what you wanted, what he did do, which is the most important thing for a Godzilla movie here in America, is he made awareness. He made Godzilla awareness. He opened up Godzilla to a grander audience outside of us. And that's important. That's important for the health of the franchise. I know to this day, it kind of boggles my mind that people still don't seem to understand the importance of the general audience. The general audience is going to make the money for these movies. And while I generally don't care how much money a movie makes, I know a lot of people kind of ride on that. I care enough that I wanted to see it be successful. The value of the movie in terms of how good it is not determined by the amount of money it makes. I think we'd all agree on that. But I think what is important is that the general audience comes to see it and they enjoy the movie enough to support it. And, Godzilla did well. By all intents and purposes, for a franchise that is looked upon as very corny, people don't take it seriously, and people are not really into it, or people are not as aware of the universe outside of just Godzilla himself. Godzilla has a lot of name recognition. It did surprisingly well. And I think a lot of that credit has to go to Gareth and his team. He made it enough so that at least he split the fan base down the middle, but he brought in the general audience. And to me, that's a win. That's a win, because if that movie flopped, we wouldn't be here right now talking about this, would we? Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you Friday night for the live stream. Until then, this is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.